Nanette Lee Reynolds, EDD 78. A visionary administrator, public official, and activist, Nanette Lee Reynolds has focused her life's work on expanding educational opportunity and creating dialogue around issues of race and social justice. Dr. Reynolds' career spans over 40 years and includes positions in higher education administration, state government, and nonprofit administration. As an assistant dean and later as a senior university presidential advisor, she developed resources for minority students and women to ensure college success. Then, as the long-serving and first Black female director of the Michigan Department of Civil Rights, she helped create high-caliber career development programs for civil rights professionals to better serve the state's increasingly diverse population and balance aggressive enforcement of civil rights law with the need to advance civil rights social collaboration. Most recently, her legacy and impact are evident in the Imagine Fund, a program she created in response to Michigan's 2006 ballot initiative that banned public sector affirmative action in the state. The Imagine Fund is a nonprofit that provides scholarship to first-generation college students of color to attend Michigan colleges and universities. In her current work as an independent consultant, Dr. Reynolds' passion and focus on assisting leaders to achieve the benefits of diversity continues to inspire and serve as a model for future educational pioneers. Congratulations.
Okay, I'm going to get back to protocol and niceties in a second. But I want to come back here and graduate with you guys. Now, to Dean McCartney, your fellow deans, to the faculty of the Harvard Graduate School of Education, to Ellie and Will, and all the members of the Graduate School of Education Alumni Council, to all of our honorees and marshals, and most importantly, to our graduates and your moms and dads and aunts and uncles and kids and everybody who's here to join and support you. Congratulations. There are really no words to express my gratitude for this unbelievable acknowledgement of the value of my life's work in education. Yet, to paraphrase the Sarah Vaughan, an American jazz vocalist, I'm not a special person. I am a regular person who has done special things, at least in the eyes of others. In 1978, 34 years ago, my family, dear friends, and I sat where each of you are today. In fact, some of them have joined me here again today, and I'd like to thank you for loving me anyway. Earning a doctorate in administration planning and social policy became perhaps the singular shining affirmation of my personal commitment to make a difference through the formal, informal, and continuing education of myself and others, especially along the expanse of equity and difference. My tenure at HGSE, which I'm just hearing about, HGSE, began when I, it's like a group hug, right? My tenure here began when my relatively new husband became fixated on this notion that I needed to maximize my potential, and that the only way to do that, coincidentally, was to study at Harvard, as he had at the design school. Maximize my what? I thought. But being a dutiful wife, because back then we were dutiful, I applied and was accepted to the Ed School 2 times. The first time, I got a positive pregnancy test the same week. So I thought, you know, that's the end of this Harvard thing. Not. So, smack in the middle of these 4 years was an extraordinary ride. There were those weekly bus trips from Providence to Boston, a year and a half which found me getting from Cambridge to the Boston bus station with my backpack, this is in priority order, my backpack, my baby, her stroller, her backpack, and her lunchbox in tow. And this is Friday afternoons, by the way. And those rides up and down the Gutman Library elevator. A little less exhausting, however. But seriously, I was challenged here, academically and in every other way possible. I'm sure that upon graduation, I was using considerably more than, what is it, the 10% of our brain? And I attribute that to several things. One, are those 3 25-page papers that were always due at the same time. The brain contortions needed for me to use the card catalog, write down and type out citations, footnotes, and bibliography, all in proper form by myself, and understand what in the world my beloved policy professors were talking about in such spirited form. I started my tenure at Harvard upon the encouragement of my husband, and with the good fortune of being admitted twice and earning a Ford Foundation Fellowship for Black Americans. I ended my tenure upon special urging from my mom. I really do have a brain and I really can function myself, but so Mom had to weigh in. You know Mom. She made me promise to put a copy of my final paper in the freezer in our home, just in case the house burned down. And she made me promise to take the bus from Providence to Boston rather than drive myself, just in case I was in a car accident. This was one graduation she wasn't going to miss. So here I am, this regular person standing before you for a precious few moments on this exhilarating day. I feel excited for you. I'm a product of Howard University and the DC public schools before then, attending an all-black elementary school until 1954, when all I had to do, instead of walking 9 blocks to school, was walk right around the corner. But I was puzzled from a young age about why some groups of people were treated differently and some even meanly, like hosed down and dog attacked mean, and called some not very nice sounding names. And I couldn't quite understand why, if you needed a wheelchair just to get around, or if you had a partner you really wanted to be a spouse, or if you wore a turban, yada, 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 that there had to be such a big deal about it. My great bewilderment about humankind was quite simple. Why couldn't people just be who they are, regardless of those descriptors? So as a kid, I kind of figuratively had a detective outfit and a spyglass, and I quietly was looking for scientific proof that at least some of these people were not as awful as they were made out to be. A defining moment came in 1968 when, in a 2-year master's program in Southern Illinois, I learned of the death of Dr. Martin Luther King. As much as I might not have wanted to before, I knew upon his death that I had to let the young white students who'd never been around blacks before touch my afro. I had to answer their questions about, for example, why Diana Ross and the Supremes had a different hairstyle, length, and color every time they performed, and probe in other instructive ways about difference. I have to put my glasses on. Where are they? Thank you. When did I say I graduated? See, I may look, but I can't see. In instructive and not so instructive ways about difference, regardless of how seemingly naive or stupid the questions seem to be. If this was their first exposure or their first experience with someone like me, if this encounter could begin to break down barriers or open doors, then let it begin with me. Who knows, I thought early on. Maybe later on in life, they'll start thinking about the tapes playing in the back of their head from when they were children. And if we really got progressive, maybe they would go so far as to engage in decision-making, which was truly just, with equitable results, and which leveraged these differences to the benefit of the enterprise at hand. It remains my life's work. So as corny as this may sound, my mantra became that song from the 1950s, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me." And I actually sang that in a speech I gave on Martin Luther King's commemoration birthday, but I will not bother to do that again because it turned out to be quite embarrassing. If we had time though, I'd gladly chronicle for you my years of intergroup work and struggle, crossing all kinds of boundaries, educating and being educated, and progressing on my own little cultural competency journey one step at a time, a journey which will never end for any of us. So my stories would cover life-affirming experiences, and some experiences that I regret to this day. The stories are about how much I've grown through my contacts with, friendships with, work relations with, and even some confrontations, scary and unpleasant moments with people unlike me and mine, but growth-oriented experiences nonetheless. So since we don't have time right now just to sit down and shoot the breeze, don't hesitate to look me up sometime. I love to chat. And who knows, we might learn some new things from each other. We might even solve some of the taxing social problems in collaboration. So as I join with all of you here today on this occasion of great accomplishment and auspicious beginnings, I don't need to offer you advice and strategies on how to, for example, climb steep mountains or swim deep oceans or walk on scorching deserts, or more importantly, perform the comparable feats in our unbelievably important field of education. You see, I trust that you will. I know you'll tackle the ills and the woes of our society. I know that you will seek to dismantle the walls and the gaps, those equity gaps, we've talked about them, which continue to keep a people behind and stuck in time and space with little hope of quality education, among other opportunities, to propel them and their families forward. So as I conclude, let me share a sweet moment, which I'm going to make yours as well. When I started in the ed school, I told my late husband of my plans to graduate with honors. I was going to graduate with distinction. His response was, and I quote, "Nanette, you just graduate and I'll distinct you." So, given these new powers vested in me in the midst of this, I want to distinct the graduates of the 13 master's programs. I want to distinct the graduates of the CAS program, and I want to distinct the graduates of the doctoral programs. Congratulations, you've now been distincted. And now that you are a duly bona fide distincted person, I want you to go out and do exceedingly great, momentous, historic, precedent-setting things. You can also do some quiet things as well. I want you to work in your own comfortable, authentic, value-added way at the nexus of practice, policy, and research, in whatever setting you find yourself, in whatever room you find yourself. So go, my friends, go out and do some things quietly, and then do other things as loudly as if a major orchestra were behind you. I ask only that you strive to always have someone unlike yourself in the room. For who knows, maybe your life will become as richly impacted as mine. Congratulations and Godspeed.